Building healthy habits is the cornerstone of personal growth. Today we'll discuss the power of waking up earlier and crafting a morning routine that sets the stage for a successful day. What's up, everybody? Welcome back into another episode of Fast and Focus, where we go beyond the form of traditional self-discipline. My name is Zach Matthews. I'm the head coach over here at Fast and Focus, and you are watching episode 1 of our 10-episode series called the 10 Transformative Habits for Health and Success. Over the next 10 weeks, the next 10 episodes, we're going to uncover 10 different small wins that you can implement to transform your life. In this episode specifically, we're going to talk about the habit of waking up earlier. Regardless of whether you're a night owl or an early bird, this can work for you. And we're also going to talk about practical tips that you can use to implement a successful morning routine. Now, before we get going, I just want to clarify real quick that I'm not necessarily insinuating you need to wake up at like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to get the benefits we're going to talk about in a second. You need to define whatever waking up earlier means for you in this season of life. Even if that just means, even if you only have like 30 minutes more to spare and wake up a little, 30 minutes earlier, that's still going to give you a little more time for personal growth and personal development, which is exactly what we want. So just define what that means, even if it's small to start, because I would rather you start small and gradually, wake up earlier and earlier and earlier until you find a place that you're happy with, rather than, trying to wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. right off the bat and, hating it. So whatever that looks like for you, I want you to get to it, okay? Now let's talk about the benefits that you can look forward to if you are to do this consistently, right? Wake up earlier consistently on a daily basis. That's what I mean by consistently, not just once in a while. First of all, you're going to see increased productivity. Now, the main reason for that is that there's just going to be less distractions in the morning. If you wake up a little earlier than everybody else does, then you're going to find that not everybody's trying to get a hold of you at the same time. Your mom's not calling you, clients aren't trying to get in touch with you yet, friends aren't texting you about random things and sending you random Instagram reels and things like that just yet. So give yourself just a little time in the morning to focus on personal growth, or a big task that you need to eat the frog on, like we talked about a few weeks back in the time management series. You can do that if you wake up a little earlier, thus making you more productive. Second benefit, you're going to have extra time for growth, right? Just, again, even if it's only like 30 minutes to spare at first, just, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here to focus on things like exercise, meditation, prayer, whatever that looks like for you is going to benefit you in the long run. And you just give yourself like 5 minutes before the day really gets going to visualize your day and see what you have on your calendar. It makes a world of difference, okay? And then the third benefit that you can look forward to is that it improves your overall well-being. It reduces the stress that you feel. Rather than, imagine this with me. Play this out in your head with me as I talk about it. You wake up at 7:30 knowing full well that you have to be out of the house by 8 to get to work on time. But even knowing that, you wake up at 7:30, giving yourself only 30 minutes to get out the door, get ready, and be prepared for the rest of the day in 30 minutes. Imagine what kind of stress that puts in your head, even if you're used to it by this point. That's just unhealthy stress that really isn't necessary. Wake up 30 minutes or an hour earlier so that you can focus on, like we're talking about, exercise, well-being, thus giving you in a better mental state before you get going in your day. But also just knowing that, you've given yourself just a little more wiggle room, before you head out the door for the rest of the day, or whatever that looks like in your career. It's going to make the world of difference for you. Now, everybody tells you why you should wake up earlier, and everybody tells you that you should wake up earlier. But I don't feel like there are many people out there that tell you how to. And so I want to cover that today because I feel like that can be really practical and helpful for you guys, especially you night owls out there that are watching, that have an interest in getting more time in the morning to spend on yourself. I mean, that part sounds beautiful, but getting there can be difficult for you. So the first tip that I have is just shifting your wake up time slowly. Now, I'm a big fan of the book 5 a.m. Club, and I love every, practical tip that he gives in there. It's a great book. And one of the things it says is just to, wake up at 5 a.m. the next day and get your day going. And I'm all for it. But the reality is that, if you're a night owl or, this is just something that's completely against the grain of what you're doing right now, it's not sustainable for you to wake up at 5 a.m. for a little while and not have it stick. I'm not a big proponent of that. So what I suggest is to wake up just a little bit earlier. So even if you have a goal of one day waking up consistently at 5 a.m., you're not going to get there overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? And neither is your sleep schedule. So wake up, prove it to yourself. If you decide, hey, I want to wake up at 5 a.m. one day and do that consistently for the rest of my life, once I do, then prove it to yourself by just waking up 30 minutes earlier tomorrow, okay? Gradually cut yourself back, and you can decide what pace that is once you get going. But my pledge to you, my challenge to you is just wake up earlier tomorrow. If you feel like you can wake up, at 5 a.m. and you were waking up previously at 7 a.m., by all means do it. But if you feel like, this is something that goes really against what how the way you're wired, then I would suggest just doing it gradually over time, okay? Second, prepare the night before. This is actually probably the most important one. Prepare the night before. Set yourself up for success. It's the same way that you guys that are really focused on your careers, which is most of the people watching, and the reason that you probably want to wake up earlier in the first place. If you're prioritizing your career, then that salesmen are always told to, set up their pipelines for the next day, or, get their calls in order so that they can wake up and hit the phones right away. Same thing if you're trying to wake up earlier, ladies and gentlemen, especially for you guys that have intentions of waking up at 5 a.m. or waking up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym right away. You are not going to want to do that first thing in the morning. I hate to tell you, even if you're really excited and writing a campi about, the latest workout program that you purchased, or the pre-workout that you bought at the store, getting up at 5 a.m. or really early in the morning, you're not going to feel up to it. So the best way around that is to eliminate as many decisions from your early morning self as possible. Okay. That includes what you're going to wear, when you're going to wake up, what you're going to do when you wake up, set your clothes out the night before so you don't have to decide what to wear. Set your alarm, at 7:05 and 7:10, or 5:05 and 5:10, whatever time it is that you decide to wake up. Give yourself several alarms so that you eliminate the decision to do so and the possibility that you fall back asleep. Prepare the night before. And then third, create a consistent sleep pattern. This is the part that is not talked about enough. If you want to wake up earlier, that's great. But you can't just expect to alter the way that you wake up early in the morning without altering the way that you fall asleep late at night, okay? If nothing gives on that end of the spectrum, then you're gonna have a lot of resistance and a lot to overcome in the morning, okay? So you have to create a consistent sleep pattern that's going to complement what you're talking about here and what you've decided on. So, if you currently don't fall asleep until, midnight, and you're telling yourself, I don't want to wake up at 7 a.m. anymore, I want to wake up at 5 a.m., then you're really setting yourself up for success because you're only giving yourself 5 hours sleep. And the most overlooked part of this is that you have a consistent sleep routine is vitally important to this whole equation. Actually, nothing's going to work without it. So make sure that you're prioritizing that. Plan ahead, just like everything else that I teach you about here on this channel. Do some planning, prepare the night before, and shift your wake up time slowly, ladies and gentlemen. So now that we've talked about why you need to wake up earlier and how to do so effectively, I want to shift our focus to the morning routine aspect of it. Because let's be honest, we don't just want to wake up earlier for the sake of waking up earlier. We want to wake up earlier because we're promised that we're going to get more done, more stuff that matters done if we wake up a little earlier. So how do we do that effectively? Well, an efficient morning routine, a successful morning routine, if you will, really does three things. First of all, it sets a positive tone for the day. It gives you more confidence, more motivation, more inspiration. You're just going to feel better heading out the door to work, to go work out, whatever it is, right? Logging on a computer at home for your job, whatever your situation is. You're going to have a successful morning routine set you up well for that. Secondly, it incorporates as many healthy habits at the front end of the day as possible. I'm a huge proponent of front loading things. It's really along the lines of the eat the frog principle, right? The more healthy things you can do first thing in the morning, first of all, it promises that you're going to get those done on a consistent basis if you make a habit of doing it first, but also it just gets you feeling good, again, like the positive tone thing we just talked about. And then third, a successful morning routine maximizes your productivity. and not necessarily productivity, but in your job. I mean, your job is gonna reap the benefits of you doing this and prioritizing some self-care at the beginning of the day, whatever that looks like for you. I'm not just telling you, like, if you have no interest in working out for 30 minutes and reading a book for 30 minutes and whatever at the beginning of your day, don't. If just waking up earlier just to like shape your beard or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is people do that helps them feel confident for the day, whatever that is, I am a proponent of it, to do it. So that is what a successful morning should contain. Now, I want to walk you through the way that you need to incorporate these things to see success, because I think that's a valuable piece of this as well. So a successful morning routine, what I don't want to have happen is you to wake up earlier and try to implement as many new things as possible right off the bat. That's not the way to do this. You need to slowly and gradually incorporating things over time. It's the same aspect here, because as you're going to see on the image to the left of the dotted line, the wrong way, as I not so subtly pointed out, is to just flood your schedule with new habit after new habit. This is something that's referred to as habit stacking. There's a great book out there that most of you have probably heard of called The Atomic Habits by James Clear. He explains habit stacking in a lot of detail, and it's a really good insight. So if you're looking for a book to read, check that one out. But the wrong way to do it is, like I said, just stacking as many new habits as possible, because they're not going to stick, right? What you need to understand about habits is, habits are the way your brain's wired. You've done something consistently over time in a certain cadence that your brain just naturally does it without thinking. So what we want to do is we want to benefit from that by putting healthier new habits in place that follow right behind it. That way your brain just kind of learns, like, okay, I make coffee in the morning and then I, stretch for 10 minutes or whatever that looks like. So on the wrong graph there, you see new habits lined up back to back to back versus, or back to back, however that you say that, versus, on the right side of the dotted line, the correct way is, you establish a current habit, you perform a current habit, then you try to establish a new habit right after it, and then a current habit, and then a new habit right after it, and so on and so forth until you can't focus on yourself anymore. You have to go get ready for the day, right? That's the best way to do this, because that's going to help you adapt to your needs, and again, it just creates more sustainability. That's the end goal here. It's not what can we just do right now that helps us kind of move the needle forward a little bit. No, we want to set something up that we can do for the rest of our lives, ladies and gentlemen. That's a life-changing event right there, is when you decide, hey, I'm going to wake up earlier, even if that doesn't mean waking up at 5 a.m. I'm just going to wake up a little earlier than I am now, to get me a little closer to where I want to be. And there are so many different things that you can do to incorporate new habits, but I feel like the habit stacking technique is a great complement to setting up a successful morning routine. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you guys are excited at the prospect of waking up earlier and setting and establishing a successful morning routine for your lifestyle. This is something that can help you it can become the catalyst of personal growth for you, and it's going to give you that clarity and that focus that so many of us are craving in our lives, and doing it first thing in the morning rather than being one of those people that just wakes up and tries to rush out the door, right? Think of the changes that could bring for your personal development, and I want you guys to have fun with this. Create just experiment with waking up a little earlier and kind of creating a successful morning routine as you go, right? There in your current routine, I promise you there are positive things that you're already doing, so keep doing those, and then weed out the negative stuff that you need to do, whether that is the time that you wake up, or the things that you do before you wake up, like scrolling through social media or whatever. Spend that time on growing and improving yourself, and have fun with this. So my challenge for you to this week is just experiment with both waking up and establishing that morning routine, and share your experiences and progress with us in the comments below, because this is something that can benefit the entire community. Everybody that tunes in and listens and watches these Fast and Focus episodes, people that watch this down the line can also benefit from things you tried, things you where you didn't see success, where you did. So please share that in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Fast and Focus and the 10 Transformative Habits for Health and Success series. If you found this valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that you can be updated anytime there's a new episode that drops, and stay motivated on your path towards self-improvement. Remember, the morning routine and waking up earlier can set the stage for success. So keep pushing forward, ladies and gentlemen. Stay resilient and focus on the journey ahead.